Aloha and welcome to this short screencast where I want to go through the structuring or the implementation of the user interface. That means pages and components and so forth. And to do that, I want to start by kind of going through the way the user interface is initialized at startup time. As I referred to before, when the system starts up on the client side, this file is going to be located main.js. This is a standard Meteor thing, which means that these three files are going to be loaded. First, import startup both. So we go to import startup both index.js. This is what on both client and server side is going to be loaded, and that's the definition. Actually, it'll go here first, and then it will load this file. Basically, both client and server need to know about the existence of a stuff collection. They need to know about the schema associated with the stuff collection. On the client side, that's so our user interface can actually make sure that these constraints are satisfied. And then we also want to import the startup client. So if we go to import startup client index.js, we're just going to load this file startup.js, and this is where we get our our famous kind of React startup thing. So we have a Meteor startup. This is a kind of a hook function here that gets called when Meteor has initialized the client side, and it's just going to call this the React render function. We're going to render our app component, and we're going to attach it to the root element, and we can see this right here in main.html in the app client folder. Actually, all three of these things are going to be loaded, not just the main.js, everything inside this folder. So you can hear we have div root, so that's will be replaced by our by this app component. Okay, and then let's see, that's that. Let's see, is there anything? I felt like there's, yeah. So then there's the style. Oh, then there's the style.css in this directory. That's going to be loaded via this import statement as well. Actually, I have a feeling this is going to get it loaded anyway, but I have this import statement here in addition. Okay, so given that, right, we know that this file is going to be imported, because when we do our startup.jsx, we've got to import app from this UI layouts component, and so now we're going to load this file, and this is our top level layout component. So if we kind of get rid of some of this stuff, I just want to show you the standard kind of way that that Meteor wants to structure the UI is inside the imports folder. There should be a UI subfolder with components, layouts, and pages. Layouts is kind of the top level thing. You can see that we have a single layout called app, and it is going to have a nav bar, and then following that is going to be one of several pages, and then there'll be a footer. Okay, so there's basically three pieces to every page in the system. Two of those pieces, the nav bar and the footer, are specified just one place, and then we have all these other components inside, and these components, kind of just by convention, are called our page components. Okay, so if we open up the pages directory, you can see we have a file for every single one of these guys, and it's made more obvious if we go here. You can see starting here, pages, 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 pages. Okay, so there's all our pages, and then you can also notice we have components. Components are things that are smaller than a particular page, and so the footer is smaller than a page, or a little piece that can appear on multiple pages. Similarly, the nav bar, and then we've got stuff items. We've got little components that appear on some of these other pages as well. Okay, so that's the way we're structuring our app. We've got a landing, which is our top level guy, and then it's going to use React Router to, depending upon the path that's selected, go to one of these pages. Now you can see that if we go to any, let's go to the landing page, for example. What you start to see here is the use of our Semantic UI React package, and so we have a React component. For this is a very static page, so we'll just return an instance of a grid with a column containing the Meteor logo and another column containing some little text. If we go here and go to the landing page, you can see there's our logo, there's our text, the nav bar's at the top, the footer's at the bottom. And so there's a pretty straightforward correspondence between the Semantic UI components and how the page is laid out. We can look at some other pages just for fun. Let's look at the list stuff page. That looks like this, and the way it's implemented, if we go to list stuff, is you can see we are going to, I think this is a good place to do this. So what we have to do here is we have to get data from the server to display all of our our documents. And so here is where we have a subscription that subscribes to a particular publication. So remember, if we go to if we go to startup server stuff.js, here we define a publication, which is a specification that we have this string called stuff, and if the user's logged in, the stuff publication is going to return all of the documents in the stuff collection that have the username field equal to that logged in user. So if we go to this stuff, liststuff.jsx, you can see we use this standard higher order component with tracker, which basically wraps our list stuff page, which is more standard looking React component, and what it will do is it will subscribe to that stuff publication, and then it's going to return all of those documents along with a little ready field which indicates when that subscription has kind of succeeded. And the render method within this classic React component checks to see whether or not this ready, subscription ready, is true. And if it is true, then we will render the actual page, which is this. If it's not true, then we'll display this Semantic UI loader thing, which is a little spinning, little spinner thing. So the notion here is that when there's a lot of data that we want to get from the server, this may take a few seconds to actually complete this subscription. While that's happening, subscription.ready won't be true. We'll see the loader, but as soon as the subscription ready returns true, then we will redisplay the page, and this time we'll actually render the contents, which we can now render because in fact the data is actually available in Minimongo, and we can look at it. Okay, so this is, if you've gone through the Meteor tutorials, which I recommend that you do, you will see this kind of design pattern used quite a bit, and there's more extensive explanation of it there. But just to say, what's going to happen here is we're going to subscribe to the stuff that we've actually created, and when that subscription succeeds, we will render the page. The page consists of a container, which kind of shortens in the margins, and then we've got a header, and then we've got a Semantic UI table with the header row. And then what happens is we're going to take this stuff's property, which is going to be bound to all of the documents that we've subscribed to, and we're going to map through that. And this map is going to take a single function, which is going to map each element of that array of stuff documents to a stuff item component. Okay, so to see that, we go over here and we see we have a key, which is the kind of standard React thing, so that each instance of this stuff item has its own unique ID, which enables it to manipulate the virtual DOM efficiently. Plus, we're passing in a property called stuff, which will be the actual document that we want to display. So let's look at this component. This is basically just going to return a single row in the table where we have the name, quantity, condition, and then we construct a link using the ID so that we can go to the edit page and actually edit a document if we want to. So if you want to see how this looks in practice, here's the name, the quantity, the condition, the edit field, and you can look down here, or we could just click on it and you can see we've gone to a page that has the name of the doc ID is embedded into the URL. So that's how that particular row works. There's the add stuff page, okay, and we'll get to this in I'll talk about this more explicitly when we're talking about forms, but you can see here's a page where we have a grid and an auto form, and we do an insert when it succeeds. The other thing I want to note as we're just talking about pages and routes is that we have an admin page which we can get to only if we're logged in as an admin, and we have a list stuff admin page, which is this page. And the difference between this page and the regular list stuff page is that we don't have any edit links, but we will list the username. And because we're subscribing to stuff admin for this specific page, we're going to see all of the data in the stuff collection by any user, not just the data associated with a specific user. That's because if we go to here, we can see this stuff admin publication, and we can see we do a stuff.find, not a stuff.find where we're kind of filtering based on or selecting based on the username. There's some other pages here. Here's the sign-in page. You can take a look at it. It uses the old school style of form processing. I thought that was kind of nice to have that in there in case you wanted to see it. There's a sign-out page, sign-up page, not found page. All of these things you can see get routed to under various conditions from the app. Yeah, so that's the basic layout of the UI. We've got components, layouts, pages that conform to the Meteor conventions for what the meaning of a layout versus a page versus a component are, and we use React and Semantic UI React inside.